Western Clash coming up really soon. We have the Eastern Clash after that. Heroes of the Dorm is started now too. And we even have HGC Korea still continuing on next week. And so much Heroes of the Storm. What a time to be a Heroes of the Storm fan.
I mean, it's legitimately the best time. If you've ever, if you were a little one before, it's probably grown a bit more because we have not only more consistent, but just better action overall. It's amazing to be able to see. And, teammates here one game away from just locking in, another dominant win. I think they're actually the most 3-0s out of any team in HGC North America.
Yeah,
if they
I think
3-0
so
here.
too.
Yeah. Because they opened with like weeks 1 and 2, I think, with just a double back-to-back 3-0. And, Temple Storm even being first seed, most of their series, or a lot of them, have gone to Game 5. So we'll see if Team 8 has what it takes. That's I think that would be the best for them going into the Clash, knowing, it's just, hey, dominant win. Everything looked good so far. So I think that would be the best for them.
How crazy has it been to see Team 8 just come out the gates so strong when we knew a lot of the players.
Yeah.
We didn't know how Yoda was going to do. He was the new factor. But we had seen where Justing and Buds had been. We had seen where Prismaticism had been before, even Glaurung. It was such a surprise.
It is a very weird balance. Like, if you really are going to isolate them all, it's like Glaurung is Glaurung. He's either going to do very well on the heroes that he does well on, or it's going to be punished by the opponents, right? But Yoda is the huge question mark. But with, like, Prismat, for instance, always done very good online. Right, which is something we got to be considering now, knowing he's going to a LAN. Has done poorly when he is making it to the LAN. Every time, for the most part, has kind of dropped severely when it comes to synergy and play. I mean, looking at that last game, perfectly timed Sulfurous smashes everywhere. Is that going to be the case of the LAN? Hopefully so. But then Buds is a really weird one, just off of the role swap. You can't even gauge that. It's just...
Right.
Hopefully, I don't care how mechanically good you are overall, every time you roll swap, it is going to be a difficult thing because you can do all the things right, but decision-making is probably more important to understand the philosophy and approach from those roles than it is to be able to, micro really well. So, but he is just blown all expectations
Killing
out of the
it.
water. Yeah, for me, it's very well done. I'm excited to see, part 2 for him, the most part, after he's finally gotten this under his belt. Obviously, he's making plays now, but I really feel like he's going to be a standout player for this group.
Yeah, both of the teams have been really refreshing for me to see them come in, Team Freedom 2, with a bunch of new players. We're about ready to see the next draft. It starts with the Battleground, so let's see where that is going to be taking us for game number 3. But I totally agree, very refreshing play from Team 8, but Team Freedom 2, being able to see their improvement, seeing them work really hard. They told us that they believed that the big reason why North America did get a bad reputation is because people just weren't practicing as much as they could, and they have stuck to that and worked really hard. And yes, they have gone kind of up and down in their standings and where they've been placed, but still just seeing the constant improvement from these players specifically.
Yeah, it is going to be... And the fact that they aren't going to the Clash, is going to buy them that time to be able to practice. And if truly they have that idea, they are going to hopefully take off by having that mini, looking at things, maybe even getting more respect for international compositions and play.
Yeah, for me, the big thing for Team Freedom is going to be working on their hero pools. They have had these clear ones, even a little bit for me, one that I wasn't expecting, but maybe No Tomorrow a little bit too. Both of those teams have had specific heroes that have been such a focus for them, and since the meta will be shifting before we come back to part 2, both of those teams, I'm excited to see who they start to bring into their arsenal more.
Freedom here is going to lock in the Zeratul, though, taking it away from Team 8. We'll see if most of the time, since Valera's been released, we've seen Zeratul picked on one side, the Valera will be like, the response. Kind of on the opposite side of the battlefield. So maybe somebody on the side of Team 8 here will pick it up. I expect that to make it later into the draft if that is the case. That is a very high Dahaka priority here for Team 8, but I love it. Awesome hero. What he provides to the map, the manipulation across the board. Falsa has been let through. Freedom, like to see them pick it up, but again, it's not them. It's just not their style.
This time, Dinosaur and Meteor are on the same team.
Like, that is, if you needed to be afraid of anything, when you get a Dino and he's got the Meteor behind him, he's literally a dinosaur riding a Meteor. That's not true at all, but it sounds way scarier, when you put it that way. Fawcett ban is heads up there on the side of Team 8. Freedom says, not today, we're going to take away the Medivh.
Now Team 8 with their next 2 choices. wondering what support we're going to see out of Buds. Would it be Rhaegar again or Karzim? And I think that will be a Glaurung Dahaka, especially since Prismaticism is the main Ragnaros player for the team, in which case, still questioning what the warrior pick will be for Jesting.
I mean, we've seen him play Lunar, you know, anything is possible at this point. After that last match. I agree with you, though. Obviously, you know, their trends lead towards him being onto the Dahaka and Prismat there onto the Ragnaros. Li Ming and Karzim, in fact, are going to be the selection here for Team 8. And now, for Freedom, they have Zeratul. They need some kind of pairing for the Zeratul when it comes to their backliners. They got the Mouth, and he's going to be a nice follow-up. Their Jaina is going to be their answer as the follow-up here, and Tychus was picked up as well. So a little bit of a shift for them. I don't believe we've seen a Zeratul Jaina out of them yet. I might be incorrect about that, though.
I don't recall.
We've seen Zeratul from them, but I don't think it was like, you know, the duo, the dream, the Zeratul Jaina. It's actually, that duo together is really interesting to look at when it's been relevant and when it hasn't been, you know, for a long time. It's existed since the release of Jaina, and at first it was like, oh, this is the most insane thing in the game. You can never let your opponents have it. Then it just was never played forever. And then Dignitas, I don't know, was just like Infernal Shrines, now we're just going to bust it back out, kick it old school. And since then, it's kind of been back and forth on the relevance.
Oh, my.
Team 8, they put so much focus onto other metas right now that it makes me so happy to see. We've gotten an Arthas. We've got ourselves in a new Barak. This is unheard of for North America. You know, it's like we're all grown up now. It's like we're looking everywhere. We're willing to bring a little bit of this and that from everywhere. Granted, it's only Team 8 so far, but love the choice into the Mage of Jaina. It's going to be a really solid answer to her across the board.
Right.
This is a good draft.
Anubarak, yeah, his recent changes were to bring in spell armor for Anubarak, plus the fact that he can get dampened magic at 1. So he's been built more and more into this anti-mage warrior, but we have not seen him once yet in HGC North America.
Yeah, and then what I would like to see is the bigger they are now on Tychus. Even though it's into a double warrior, wait for the barrel, pop the bigger they are. You're going to be able to crush a lot of the HP onto the Anubarak. You know, he shouldn't be able to out-sustain that with the Jaina combo and all the other CC follow-up there. Maybe he would be able to do so, but overall, I think Team 8's adjustments is awesome.
Well, the game has started. We are getting into game number 3. Let's see if Team Freedom's Zeratul Jaina combo is enough to take us to game 4.
Look at them there, already conveniently waiting at the gate. The Jaina build, oh, look at that. Well, we see Mouth going into passive there. Shendo's Clarity at 1. Going for the cooldown. Not something we see on this map. Only BOE was the most popular to see it. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it's kind of like Moonburn's like old school now. You know, nobody likes Moonburn. It's lame.
Usually a scouting drone.
It'll just be scouting or, yeah, Shendo's.
Over on the other side, a lot of ways of dealing with the spell combo from Jaina. Not only dampened magic, like I mentioned for a new Barak, but even force armor for Li Ming to try to give her that little bit of extra boost in defense versus Jaina.
Yeah, that thing is actually insane. Li Ming's level 1 into mages. If none of you have experienced it, it is ridiculous force armor there by getting the charges because it's off of how many Qs you hit on heroes. And it turns out, you know, it's a pretty short cooldown, pretty easy to just constantly refresh those, especially into the team fights. Team 8 here, though, their composition is so well done. I do think this would be a 7-sided strike game. It probably makes more sense than some of the others just off the raw CC that they have. In isolation is going to be really possible. And there's really no... They might be afraid of the Zeratul Jaina combo enough to go into the palm, but you can't palm more than one target. So obviously, it's a little counterintuitive because you want to heal everybody, but if you heal everybody, then you make it less likely for palm to proc. It's, you know, the kind of downfall of Karzim there.
Rotations constantly going before this first temple phase for Team 8. Started out moving bot and then sent to Haka bot, knowing that the first temple phase would be mid and top. Glaurung in trouble, hit by a blizzard. Jaina and Zeratul sticking with this. Can Dahaka get out in time? Down in the mid, he does just get away. And Team 8 instead are going to hold on and grab the temple up here in the top. It's nice for them too because they did take some damage on the towers before they made the rotation to top. So the more that they're able to take away from Team Freedom when it comes to these temple shots, the more guarded their structures will be.
Zugrug's the real MVP. He last hit the big Guardian in the mid, which actually set experience to even. You know, if you guys didn't know that, it does actually give experience, and if you steal it, it's actually a pretty significant amount. Glaurung is going to drop the burrow. This should be a kill with Janus low. Oh my goodness, no CC. He still had the burrow up, but Vorpal follow-up. Glaurung is going to be just fine, though.
So it'll be a 1v1 in the bottom lane. Janus is going to start to head up. And the rest of the shots from top will be consumed by Team 8. And this is a good advantage for Team 8 that they didn't just trade out the shots, because Freedom were so reluctant to move into the mid and wanted to take the fight that Team 8 can even heal back up and then try to take a fight over mid if they want to.
Yeah, the shots that we saw Team 8 be able to get onto top were very well done, considering the fact that, you know, Glaurung obviously with the dance through mid and bottom using that Zul-esque play. Zugrug power sliding out. Limin gets the dash. Is the follow-up stun there? Nubarak not going to connect. And Insomnia dashing out here. Shot's going to be captured once more by Team 8 as they seem to, you know, be setting the tone even here in this game when it comes to their rotations over Freedom.
Making sure to hold down the fort as much as they can, not losing anybody too. They know that they've already gotten a good advantage structurally off of these. Insomnia is the one who's in trouble.
Man, he was way out of position, but not going to be punished there for Freedom. Justing just taking a lot of the damage there from Nasmus. He's completely doomed. He's got to either tap or come back, and that means Freedom here is going to withdraw from the rest of these shots. Experience pretty close to even, though I would say that I expected Team 8 to pull farther ahead during the Shrine phase purely off of the global and their skirmish. Whereas Freedom is a more, you know, pick-oriented, which I just feel like Team 8, with the experience that they have, they will not be a team letting themselves get picked. And there's a little Snapple fact that you might not want to see. Freedom here going 0-4 onto the Sky Temple this season.
Meanwhile, Team 8 have only played Sky Temple twice throughout. They beat B-Step on it, but did lose to Tempo Storm on Sky Temple. So sitting 1-1 currently on their Sky Temple record. Love the rotations, very quick from Team 8 after that Temple phase completed. Dahaka went straight to the top. Everyone else moved bottom to get the Giants. That buys time with Ragnaros for them to get up and get the Bruisers in top. We'll see what the next move for them is going to be. If they want to keep more people up in top with Dahaka and go for a strong push to try to take down that fort, or rotate back down.
It seems like they would, but they kept... Okay, so either they would stall it out because the shots in a most optimal situation are going to be the 430 timer there, even getting the Molten Core to get the clear here on bottom. But now with the Dahaka on towards top, I expected them to wait a little bit more or heavy commit with that early channel. So that is an interesting choice you brought up there. Glaurung is going to casually drag Insomnia there over the wall, getting the first blood of the game. And at 2v1, feels good, man. If you're Glaurung at this point in time, you even got Knights moving out. The Mule there doing its best. Well, give it to me. What is it?
Yeah, it's Mule here, Malfurion.
Yeah, it's
no cleanse for something like drag.
Puts so much ridiculous pressure on Insomnia that it's like gross by not having cleanse in this game. Because they have so much CC on the opponent side of the map that you are now completely banking on your opening with Void and hitting more than 2 targets with a Void before any of the crowd control on your opponent's side of the map ends up connecting. It's possible, but just realize what that does. Again, it comes down to easiest versus not. It's going to be a lot more difficult now here for Freedom, and especially, you know, if anybody scouts out Insomnia or if he's just dead or Void's on cooldown, it drastically cripples their team fight potential. Like, almost can't risk a fight unless somebody is insanely out of position on the side of Team 8. That was, man, interesting choice for Freedom.
It is a huge risk for Team Freedom to not have cleanse in this game. I mean, Team 8 don't have it either until Buds can get cleansing touch at 16, but...
but they've only got a power slide, and that's about it to worry about. Right. Maybe a root versus, you know, if you got drag, you've got Sulfurous Smash, and Nubarak's got 2 versions of the crowd control.
And you have ways of dealing with Mosh Pit too, even if Zugrug wants to take that, which they may, but they may not.
There's no way now.
Stage dive versus...
Yeah. Not only the lack of cleanse, but just the fact there's the global on top of it. Yeah. I think the lack of cleanse is the tell that this is 100% a stage dive, and if it's not, they are totally banking on a Mosh Pit follow-up to the ring combo, and that is something, you know, you're only putting more eggs into the Wombo basket, you know? And if I feel like there's going to be a lot less comboing than maybe they aspire to have happen in this game. ETC's holding on.
Besides the fact that Anubarak can provide a lot of ways of staying healthy through the Wombo. I also like his ability to disrupt. They have a lot of disruption possibilities with Wave of Force too, so if Void Prison does go out, whoever's not in that Void Prison, there's a lot of people who could try to stop Jaina from being able to follow up with Ring of Frost.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up there too, and I didn't touch up on it. On the Tychus there, he moved into the rhythm with the double warrior. So less kill potential onto the Anubarak, because though Anubarak is the first game in all of HGC North America, Europe, so proud. But more than anything, it just puts it into a position to where he's going to have obviously that awesome sustained DPS, but Anubarak, the squishy, vulnerable HP, it's going to put a lot more pressure on Jaina to be able to make sure that it's going to be a kill. And obviously, as you said, the default spell armor that's been implemented is Anubarak's scary, especially with that Locust Swarm. If he even is around 2 targets, he can pretty much out-sustain a traditional mage and anybody else around him.
This is, I believe, the second time we've seen Glaurung pick isolation over adaptation, whereas everyone else, it is adaptation.
Yeah, it is really, interesting to see that. I personally love adaptation. Isolation, even when isolation was the only way to play him, I always felt that adaptation was the more powerful heroic choice. But this could be a case of, he doesn't need to be that big of a threat. He's got a huge, Anubarak is the scary hero here. He's got the Locust Swarm. He can dive the backline. He's going to have so much focus on him that suddenly Dahaka is not going to just be the watch me die on my own unless I have adaptation. So I think I like the change here, considering that they do have the Anub.
I agree, and I've seen some very cool isolation plays come out of China versus Zeratul, where you can just drag in isolation 2, and then you can get a kill off of Zeratul when he tries to blink in, and play that aggressive Zeratul the way he would like. So that will, again, be more that Insomnia has to watch out for in this game, especially adding on not having cleanse. But now at least 13 is here for Team Freedom. Ice Block will help a lot for Malfurion. Icy Veins, more damage for Jaina, and importantly, it allows Team Freedom to once again be able to fight teammate on the even tier.
They're actually trading shots here. This is, I'll probably never say this again in this situation. I actually think Freedom, even though being structurally behind, should trade shots as long as they can.
Because of Mule?
You're not even just because the Mule helps a little bit, obviously, but they're falling so far behind that Mule's gonna, now outside of the fort phase, Mule doesn't gain much value at all. The only time it would is if the fort's by itself, then doing a little bit damage to the keep, but even then it only heals like 1 turret, really. More importantly than anything is just the risk they've chosen. That they put so much onto Insomnia in this game that the only fight I really feel like they can win is those really late ones where, teams are panicked around one posture or position and is likely to group, and they get that combo. Because again, if they don't open with Void, things are going to drastically change against their favor. Freedom, with that cleanse choice and everything they've done with this draft, I think it's smarter to wait it out.
Allows the lone soldier here versus the boss plus all of Team Freedom. Goes for a drag, doesn't connect. Rest of the team starting to move into. Prismat not going to get here in time to be able to save the fort with Molten Core.
He's going to drag? Oh man, that was, it was scary for a minute there. Dansky's got more confidence in himself than I do for sure in that situation. But they're going to back out. Forts are even across the board here. The boss was picked up to trade towards top 15 to 15. We're looking at an even game. Only that 1v1 kill, or 1v2, I guess technically, that Glaurung managed to pick up on top with the drag has happened. Everything else has just been, you guys stay on your side, we'll stay on ours, Nobody has to be rude. We don't have to go over there.
Yeah, the one-time teammate did it. They pushed up the top, and Freedom responded by stealing away a boss. Insomnia blinks over the wall. Teammate will continue to test the members of Team Freedom, but they're slightly behind in experience. They're going to want to get 16 before they fight over this temple in the bottom lane.
Yeah, there's going to be, it looks like they're moving towards getting the upper hand here when it comes to the Shrine, even going to be taking out the Giants, get rid of their opponents. Both teams will be 16. All right, so if you're teammate, what do? You avoid fighting on the Shrine itself or anywhere near that middle ground on the Shrine. Ooh, this is a beautiful pick, a perfect one for them if they're going to be successful. There goes the smash, and that is going to be a kill here. Now Locust Swarm wasn't used, so still a bit of skirmish potential on the side of teammate.
What is the adjustment for teammate right here? Not having Ragnaros, not having a Molten Core to move back to either.
I mean, the smart choice is going to be just keep Dahaka to get the soak, look everybody to soak elsewhere, and then when, you know, Ragnaros can join the fight, if ever, then just look to, you know, get the initiation. But shots should be completed at that point. So really, it's just, you know, net loss. But that Freedom needed that really bad because, again, they banked so much onto how their team fight's going to be able to play out. Bottom Shrine is probably one of the more appealing ones for Freedom to fight over. Mid is the least appealing because it's the easiest not to group on to get value of the objective. Whereas top and bottom both have heavy chokeholds that is, you know, it's very easy to force your opponent to move through.
That's a Malfurion hanging out in the temple. Not the choice you'd always want to have. This is going to be a Dahaka drag. Flowering goes in. Voiper's on 2, but it's also on collusion. Stage dive in the back. Flowering jumping in, trying to see if he can get collusion, but a nice power slide saves him from that.
Focus Swarm is going to be used here. Justing is on the chase. Sulfura Smash, not full damage onto it. Oh man, good job from Yoda though. He goes for the teleport with the diamond skin. Power slide out from Zugrug. They're gonna be on full retreat there. So they got most of the shots for Freedom. Teammate, you know, looking for that initiation. They now are just gonna back out, finish the rest of the shrines. Team Freedom did get an advantage on experience, but I don't think it's gonna matter considering the next shrine phase will be up before they hit the 20 spike. And it won't be close enough for them to dangle around it. The only way it could be is if they abuse the ETC, but even then I don't think that would be the case here.
Hey, J-Hal, thanks for that fun fact.
That Yoda achieved the #1 on the Diablo leaderboards as a wizard, and he's playing Li Ming. That's, you know, that's how you do it. You play it in the original game, and then you're good at it. Like,
it gives you a 10% stat bonus.
It actually, it does. That's why Buzz is good at the Karazim, because they actually play together, and he's obviously the monk player for this squad.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. What if you... If you built a whole, okay, yeah. I shouldn't even go there.
When the minute it's silent for a second and you're like, what if? I just know it's not going to be good. Whatever it is.
It was just going to be like a whole squad because you could feel like we have a support, it being Karazim, and you know you have Johanna, you could put Sonya, you could have Li Ming and Nazebo, and if you all just play together in Diablo and then you bring it back with that stat, ooh. That's the OP strat. Somehow I didn't pick up on that very early in my career, but now I know.
There you go, Heroes fans. That's how you achieve greatness.
18-18. Jaina's not here for the fight. So passive. Very not North American.
Game 1 and Game 3, Teammate has been that way.
I think for Team 8,
patient.
This draft, I think I don't see it as much. For the first one, I understood it a bit more. You know, when you're in a controlling position, you often, especially when you can manipulate your opponents and choose, kind of dictate where they go. Oh man, it's gonna have to void.
He's gonna first smash, doesn't catch him, but Buds has him.
I will say I'm proud of him for not voiding there because again, that's the only way I think that they're gonna be successful in a team fight.
They're going to need that once he comes back up immediately to go in because there's going to be several seconds where Teammate have a power play around these temples.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get these shots here when it comes to the damage that, you know, we see on the top keep. It's really just going to lead to about half keep at best as the front wall was not even taken out. Freedom's still up in experience, even only having the stage dive global. Going to start the boss. Oh, this is scary, considering Dahaka and EGC, both the globals are on top. They started, they backed down. Now they realize Zugrug is, you know, he's a lone cow there. Maybe he'll stage dive out, but Sulfura Smash is not on cooldown, so he could, but that's going to be him falling here. The boss is still being danced around. Rings dropped. It's going to be a whiff. Flow's
on the point. Justing's there too. Isolation on Tychus. He gets pulled back in. Twilight Dream from Karazim. Tychus goes down. He is eliminated. Team 8 looking for more. Beautiful Sulfura Smash and 7-sided strike to seal the deal.
Yeah, and that is going to be 3 members down. 20 is picked up. Nasmus here is just going to keep throwing out the Ice Lance. He's going to chase. Justing has the option to loot to core, and he's like, nope, not today. I'm getting this. Come here. This is the true 1v1, the one we all needed.
B-step.
He's got to queue up. He's got to queue up in a second. He missed the slow. Oh my gosh, he mounted. Oh, there goes the Icy Veins. He's got the slow on top of the slow. Oh, he hit. Oh, the burrow. The burrow. Okay, we're ready. He's got to juke bottom right whenever he burrows. 3, 2, now. Oh, he down. No.
Meanwhile, at core.
GG, no read. The Void's going to be used, but that is merely just buying time there for the 5 seconds. 3-0 Teammate. Clean sweep here. Taking out Team Freedom.
And in style. Bringing in Arthas, bringing in a new Barak.
It makes me excited knowing that they're looking towards other parts of the world. Well, I mean, they might not even be doing that, maybe their own creative thought process when it comes to the draft overall. Either way, that creativity, but with obvious thought behind it, is something that I'm really looking forward to now, knowing that they're going to be the representatives for North America at the Clash. Makes me a lot more hopeful, especially considering the youth of this group.
And we look at the where we will have Tempo Storm, Team 8, and Gale Force Esports representing North America at the Western Clash. Team 8 stays in their second place seeding spot too, so nice, a very nice showing for them coming in as a new team and being able to go to the Western Clash right away is incredible for them.
Yeah, it's almost unheard of, really, to kind of see that, especially, players like Yoda, the only other one to do really what he's managed to do to open up the very first time really performing at the top 8 level, then qualifying for international play is June. Is the only one, I think, in all of last year to be able to do that.
And on the other side, we have Justing and Buds, Prismaticism too. They've been at a lot of our North American regionals last year, but being able to go to international for the first time, they'll be relying a lot on Glaurung's expertise, but Justing and Buds, this duo is just incredible to just see between them two.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun. I think Team A is probably one of more of the fun teams to be able to watch because they fluctuate on how they decide they're going to approach the game and, look to win it, not only when it comes to drafting, but a lot of the times in Naventic, they're going to just heavy on macro. Other times they're like, we can go blow for blow, we'll take the fight all day. And I think that in itself not only shows a skilled team, but it's also it makes it more entertaining to be able to watch them. So they always provide great games.
We're looking over on the other side now. Team Freedom, they did fall to Team 8, but still a lot of improvement we've seen from them throughout these 5 weeks. Very excited to see what they'll bring back next part 2 of Phase 1.
Part 2 of Phase 1. Yeah, no, it will be awesome. Freedom is still, they've got a place in my heart still a little bit, after the hype that kind of existed in their early performances. I still believe that this group has an opportunity to improve overall. It's going to take a lot of criticism towards themselves, a lot of VOD review, like a mind-blowing amount of that, and looking towards causation of the positions that they've been put into. But I really do, more than anything, I hope that watching the Clash and not being there and everything else is going to help them better themselves as players too. Because you got to remember, not only are they young individually, just as a team, extremely young.
Well, we have Justin back once again to talk to us about that series, as well as the run wall. Hey, Justin, congratulations on your win.
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot.
So I want to jump into game number 1. You guys busted out the Arthas. Talk us through the reasoning for that, how you felt it went.
So the Arthas pick, it was pretty much just that they picked a lot of melees. Like, they were really heavy melee. They had, like, Artanis and Vala, and basically just a lot of just heavy melee. So we kind of figured that if they swapped me, or if they engaged at all, I could pretty much just, like, walk through them fearlessly. And pretty much worked, I think.
Was that something that you guys had practiced, or was it just a product of the draft?
A little bit of both. So we'd practiced it a little bit, just against heavy AD comps in general, and we had just tried it, and we found it was really strong. I know other regions play a little bit of Arthas, so it's not like a troll pick or anything like that. Like, it's a viable hero, and it's just really good in that situation.
Well, then, on the same note of heroes that are higher priority in some of the other regions, the new Barak, it came out in game number 3. The thought process a little bit behind that, do you guys think that we'll see more of that style of play, I guess, in the North American scene, or is it just kind of a one shot into that composition specifically?
I think a new Barak is actually really strong, and he's one of my favorite tanks to play. I think that he's really good against all magic damage now, just because of the flat magic resist he gets. So I think he's a really good pick there, especially because with VP, with Zeratul with VP, he's like really safe in that situation. If he gets isolated, he can just like E away, he can CC the backline. Like, he has a lot of potential to turn out of VP, especially with Locust against a high magic damage comp.
It's awesome.
Well, we have talked to both Gale Force Esports and Tempo Storm about how they feel about the Western Clash heading into that. How do you guys think that you're going to fare at the Western Clash, and what are you most looking forward to there?
I think we can do pretty well as long as we show up and we just play our best. I'm not personally scared of any of the teams there. Like, I think I respect them a lot, and I think they're all really good, and they've obviously proven that to get there. But I think if we show our best and we just give it our best shot, that we can place pretty well.
All right, well, we are looking forward to seeing you guys compete there. Do you have any shout outs?
Just shout outs to my team and for everyone who's supporting Team 8. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome. And shout outs to Blizzard for hosting HGC. It's just amazing. It's been a great experience so far. I love the competition just every week. It's great.
Yeah, we love it too. Congrats again. Good luck at the Western Clash.
Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
I just can't get over the wrong wall. It's the greatest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
We have the best backgrounds. I've said it before.
I'm pretty close to like needing one of those in my own life. I might have to hit up Justin and be like, yo, how do I get a wrong wall of my own? It's too good.
I don't know if you can replicate it. It seems
honestly,
like a sort of a one-time thing.
Yeah, the origin of the wrong wall is really the greatest version that can ever exist within the land. But yeah, no, very well done. And it's exciting to see, I think more than anything, hearing, understanding that other regions run it, but more of, kind of their own thought process led towards those type of heroes. I think that's really exciting to see, more so than, they other tried it, so we figured we try it too. I think the origin of that train of thought and that step towards innovation is a lot more telling than just kind of mocking that of a different region. So that's awesome.
Guys, we are done now with Phase 1, Part 1 in North America and Europe. There's still more in Korea. There's 1 weekend left next weekend for Part 1 of Korea. But Phase 1, Part 2 continues April 14th. And here is what that schedule will be. We kick things off in Europe with Fnatic versus Team Expert, and then Misfits versus Tricked Esport. And we come right back into Gale Force Esports versus Team 8 with Naventic versus B-Step. So Naventic, B-Step having to face off again after playing against each other so soon. But like we said before, those standings will not reset. They are going to go all the way through into the end of Part 2.
Yeah, and that's when, we start seeing a lot of teams fighting for their lives. And whether or not they recognize it now or not, all of the games that you guys have seen so far for HGC are very, very relevant for the team's ability to be able to remain here in the HGC. And then it's going to be tough, and especially for those teams, seeing the B-Step and Naventic, not only the older, players of North America, or at least the more experienced, but then not making it to this clash, and then seeing whether or not, how that affects the morale. Do we see that constant improvement over that time, or is it kind of that continued, downward movement here for Naventic? Hopefully we see those shifts and changes for these teams.
And they'll have a lot of time to practice. Like we said, This is the end of Part 1, but there's still so much heroes for you guys to enjoy. And that includes the Western Clash. That's going to be March 3rd through 5th. Starting at 1 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. CET for all of those games. They'll be in all of the same places. Playheroes.com/esports is not only the place where you can find the games, find the VODs if you're not able to watch at that time, but also be able to find out more information about it. We haven't had a bracket yet, things like that. That's going to be coming soon, so make sure you check out even into early next week for more information about the Western Clash. And Dread, the Eastern Clash, can't forget that one either. That's going to be coming up in the middle of March. I have my dates right here, 17th through 19th, and there's going to be more information on that soon too.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for both of them. I obviously with, seeing China versus Korea and seeing how that's going to be able to play out. Korea's done so amazingly well in the recent past, very formidable. China's kind of recovering a little bit from some of the roster apocalypse they've experienced. And then as always, where are we going to see North America and EU fall? EU's have the upper hand through almost all of last year, minus spring. It went dead even. So, but post that, Europe won when it comes to the rivalry, if you will. But before that point, NA, they got their quick blow in. They managed to come out on top. So, maybe it's time to turn it back around. North America coming back. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but, we can hope.
We also have Here's the Dorm too, right? I'm just going to say, it's the case. You gotta have the NA pride there. But Here's the Dorm has been running as well too, so you guys can find even more Here's the Storm games there too. Let's take one last look at the standings for HGC North America. Now that we have had every single team face off versus each other for the first part of Phase 1. Tempo Storm teammate tied right now with their records, but the fact that Tempo Storm beat Team 8 puts them at the top. In Gale Force Esports, those are our 3 representatives for the Western Clash. And as we go down there from now too, Team Naventic and No Tomorrow, they're the bottom 2 for now, but it's a long road until we see things like the Crucible and fighting for the spots for the mid-season brawl.
Yeah, they still have a lot to be able to work on, a lot of games ahead to be able to change where they have found themselves now, but again, it is relevant where they have ended up falling. Naventic is definitely, for how long they've lasted and how experienced they are as a group of players, has definitely made Part 2 a very terrifying, very high-risk position for them.
Yeah, and all of the teams too. It's no one's set yet,
No.
and the way that the midseason brawl that's going to start to come into play as well will be very scary, even for teams like Tempo Storm, all the way up at the top, making sure that they keep the standing exactly where it is.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love international play more than anything. Like I said, the clashing of metas is without a doubt the funnest thing to be able to study, looking at the players and then seeing the improved play, and also getting able to see the European players because they're good friends of mine. So
They're pretty cool.
they are pretty neat.
Well, guys, that closes it out for us for the day and the weekend. Thanks so much for joining us. If you missed anything, playheroes.com/esports. Until then, we'll see